What's up? What's up? What's up? We are on the road, but we are here. Welcome to This Week in White Supremacy. We are reporting to you. We're not in the same place. Two of us are. One of us is not. And but we still had much to discuss with you all today. So we're here in the midst of a conference. We took time off. And obviously one of us took the time to get very comfortable, but that's neither here nor there. I'm Jasiri X. I'm co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media. And on my screen, right next to me in the upper room, it's Miracle?
It's a miracle.
What, Miracle? You're in the upper? You're in a room and you're in the upper box.
It's a miracle.
Okay, not in the upper room, but still. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Miracle, aka Big Blessing with the Big Blessing. I'm here, ready, less comfortable than others, but still, still comfortable.
And you got your sparkling water. And sir, did you want to talk about? You got your wave cap on, your velvet wave cap, your robe
for the culture.
For the culture, man. You know, it's me. Sparkling water always is delicious.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I can't. I agree. Whoever said it was like drinking static.
TV static?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, you know, I always want static, so it works for me.
I guess it does. You are somebody that, for whatever reason, that's what you look for and you want. Well, for us, people that want peace. And I would say this, we're not. Maybe, I don't know. Are we? Let me ask you all, okay? Miracle and Fruit. Are you all I told you so people?
I am. I absolutely am. I told you so, nigga. I don't even know why you asked me that question.
Miracle, are you one to say, I told you so?
I'm not sure what type of a person I am. I know I'm right.
Okay.
But I don't know if I'm necessarily I told you so type of person.
Okay, you're
more
right.
of a, like, let's reflect why you didn't listen to me at the very beginning type of person.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of sort of I told you so. The reason
I feel like the difference. I feel like it's a very subtle difference, a very subtle difference.
Right.
You're
trying to help them out. You're not trying to censor you. You're trying to censor their bad decision in not listening to you.
And their lack of accountability and analytical skill processing systems.
Oh, wow. Oh, God. Okay. Yes. The reason I'm asking is because when the conversation started around undocumented folks and ICE and the federal government using ICE to go after undocumented folks, we as a podcast and a group tried to tell people that this was not something that was just going to stop with brown folks.
No, in fact, I made a video about this on the 24th of July about how this is going to directly impact Black people.
Exactly. But a lot of, and unfortunately, there were
24th of January, I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry.
But a lot of people thought that this was going to be, and you've even seen videos where Black people was telling brown people, I'll call ICE on you and da-da-da. Or there were Black people saying, this isn't our problem. This is, ICE is brown folks' problem. Although we also have seen a lot of Black people, like we always do. I mean, we're going to stand up for marginalized folks. That's kind of what we do as a community. And so there has been a lot of advocacy from the Black community. But now we saw a direct attack by ICE on a Black community in Chicago. Now, we know that Trump has been kind of obsessing on Chicago for the last few months. And part of the reason is because Chicago's mayor, to me, has been one of the clearest voices in calling out Trump on his bullshit.
God bless
articulately. And that brother is so articulate with it. You know what I'm saying? And because they asked him about Asad Shakur, and his response was so thorough. That brother is
poignant. It was great, man.
He's thorough with his. And so he's been one to say, no, we standing up to Trump. And also the governor of Illinois is somebody who could be a possible challenger to the Republicans, right? Or if Trump runs again, which it looks like they're trying to make it to where he does, Governor Pritzker, who's also a billionaire, has also been a challenger to Trump. So that's one of the reasons that Trump is targeting Chicago. So Trump brought ICE agents, and not just the agents, but also, what do they call her? Ice Barbie or something? Is that what they call her?
Who?
Christy Nome.
Christy Nome. Right.
So Ice Barbie. I'm not familiar with this one.
I think that's what they call her. And she's one of those Republican women. For whatever reason, some plastic surgeon said this is the new Republican woman's face, and they just all went and got that same face. I don't know why.
I'm about to look her. What's her name?
Yeah.
Ice Barbie.
Yeah, Kristen. She's the head of Homeland Security right now. Is it Kristen Nolan? Is that how you pronounce it?
You know how I feel.
Yeah.
We don't pronounce colonizers and slavers' names correctly. How we pronounce them is how we pronounce them.
Yes.
And they call her Ice Barbie. That's
right.
Crazy.
And she's been very performative in like showing up at these different places, like she's going to go arrest somebody or get involved in something. But what ended up happening in Chicago this weekend is interesting because it hasn't gotten a lot of coverage. But ICE really like rained out. They said with helicopters.
Yeah, it came with a Black Hawk helicopter. Yeah,
with Black Hawk helicopters targeted a housing project.
Isn't Chicago's hockey team the Blackhawks?
Correct. What is that?
Crazy.
Is that something that you feel like is why they chose that specific helicopter, brother? Like, I don't know what that means. But the South Shore neighborhood in Chicago is a predominantly Black neighborhood. Not only did they send helicopters, but they made everybody leave their buildings. They had children naked on the ground. They handcuffed people for hours before even determining if people were criminals or not. Basically criminalized this whole place.
Yeah.
Handcuff people, terrorize them, terrorize children. Who knows who they were after or why. And so this was something that I saw a lot on social media, and I saw a lot of Black people talking about, but I didn't see this become a national story. One of the ramifications of it was actually Mayor Brandon Johnson just signed a bill having like no ICE zones in the city of Chicago, but it's become almost like a war where you have ICE and some people in the police that like ICE against a community that's saying, and a leadership in Chicago that's saying, we don't want y'all here. But the fact that ICE came and really like in a to me like war practice ways, because if you're sending in helicopters and you're going down and you're arresting everybody, that seems like practice for war. And to me, if you're practicing, you're choosing Black people in communities like that because you feel like you're not going to get pushback, and they haven't really got any pushback. I haven't seen any of these national media people even ask Trump directly about it. I'm coming to you, Miracle. How should we respond, particularly as Black people, when we've seen, again, we said it was coming, but when we've seen the federal government now using all of its powers to not quote unquote round up undocumented folks, but to actually go after Black American citizens and arrest and terrorize families.
I'm making sure it's correct. Yes. The 287G program allows for military to trade equipment and surveillance and stuff with your local police department. And instead of continuing that program, what the United States government did was like, hey, we'll do ICE and we'll make our own like second de facto military full of white supremacists and bigots who just run around, terrorize Black and brown people. But to be clear, they use these Black Hawks to rappel down buildings in Chicago, a predominantly Black neighborhood, to zip tie children, to pull children outside of their apartments naked, to ransack and destroy people's homes, Black American citizens' homes, under the search under the guise of searching for people who are undocumented, have people zip ties. There's photos going around of a child less than like 3 years old being detained. They put people in vans. They literally put Black people in vans for hours.
U-Hauls,
right?
They said U-Haul trucks or U-Haul vans, yes.
For hours because they had to make sure they were American citizens, detaining people, and then force people to go to school and to work the next day. There was no notes. No, I'm sorry, I'm going to be late. No, nothing, right? So they jeopardized people's livelihoods and safety and then traumatized the whole community and just left like nothing happened. And so people have to organize. I think about what Brandon Johnson was saying, what everyone has been talking about is this is a war. When the Republicans 2 weeks ago, after Charlie Kirk said we are in a war, everybody laughed, but they are showing they are in a war. These are military grade weapons being deployed on residential neighborhoods in search of video footage and little vignettes that you could put on social media. They did not care about people's lives. All they care about is putting out these ugly little videos for their propaganda to make people feel like they're doing something when they're doing nothing. They have not even been able to compete with Obama's deportation numbers. It's all for show. It's all theater, and it's all meant to terrorize people. And so what we can do is what people in Chicago did, push back, resist. People in D.C. are doing, push back, resisting, educating each other about rights, organizing, learning how to de-arrest people, learning how to keep people safe. And that's all that we can do, because what rights do we have under fascism, right? All we have is each other. All we have is our community, and we have to keep each other safe and, organize, galvanize, do everything at our disposal to make sure that everyone is safe.
Yeah, and just to let people know, before I come to you, Farouk, and just co-signing what you said, Miracle, it says in the pre-dawn hours of September 30th, federal agencies coordinated a large-scale immigration enforcement action targeting a 5-story apartment building near 75th and South Shore Drive. It said the agency claimed the building and surrounding areas were tied to a Venezuelan gang. Ebony Watson, who lives across the street, said she saw federal agents dragging residents, including children, out of the building without clothes and loading them in the U-Haul van. She said children were separated from their mothers. Another brother said, I've been on military bases for a good portion of my life. This is Daryl Ballard, who lives in the building next door. And the activity I saw was an invasion. Farouk?
This isn't a situation where I revel in the "I told you so" moment, but
Right.
it's definitely an "I told you so" moment. We're really at the precipice of something awful. I think invasion is the great word, specifically with Trump using this rhetoric and this language around culling the enemy within, and
Yes.
attacking American citizens, preparing the Marines, the National Guard, ICE, this militarization and this the weaponizing of the armed forces on American citizens is something that was really, unfortunately, only a matter of time. And here we are, right? The writing was on the wall the moment. I would even say the moment that the Biden administration was looking the other way when ICE was lassoing Haitian immigrants, and
Right.
they were using those, kind of cowboy Wild West tactics, this manifest destiny tactics on Black people. We were headed here eventually, right? This isn't something that was escapable just because both administrations platformed this activity, right? So the question is as a Chicago native, I want to ask you, how do you feel about this? As someone who grew up in these areas and seen these things, how does it make you feel?
I mean, it definitely, brings back, coming from Chicago, when you think about a pre-dawn raid, the first thought that comes to my mind is the murder of Fred Hampton, who police ran into his house pre-dawn, killed him, almost killed his wife and his son. We know Fred Hampton Jr. personally. And so Chicago police has a history of disappearing people, remember, it was just a few years ago where we found out that the police had an offsite that was a building nobody knew about, that if they didn't want to arrest you, they would take you there. But the Chicago police also has a history of beating confessions from people. They paid hundreds of millions of dollars to folks that they've abused and beaten. So to see this level of, but the fact that this is the federal government doing this, and the federal government, to me, join this in a community where they feel like they can get away with this. And I think this is also what we've seen being done with this Trump administration, is this movement of the Overton window. It's like, we're going to do the most outrageous thing and see if we can get away with it. And if we can, we'll do it again. And so we've seen really the law being broken over and over and over again by the people who are supposed to be enforcing laws, right? I mean, we're watching, right now, as we're recording, Pam Bondi, who's the head of the Department of Justice, is speaking. We've seen the Department of Justice, on one hand, shut down an investigation of the guy who's, I think he's in Homeland Security, I forget his title, agreeing to take $50,000 on tape.
Oh, the borders are.
The borders are, right. They cut that investigation off and now are prosecuting James Comey because Trump doesn't like him. And Trump actually told them, put it on social media, Pam Bondi, you need to prosecute these people who are my enemies, right? So we're watching this take place, and the more we don't, like the less of a response from us, the more they're going to get away with. So I do think that we have to begin to organize really full-scale responses to this. I mean, one of the pictures that's going viral in Chicago right now is them pepper spraying a priest who was there like protesting non-violently, and they just pepper spraying white priests in the face. You know what I'm saying? So to think that this isn't coming to where we are, and that's what I would say to, like, if you're watching this and you're thinking like, oh, some black people on the south side of Chicago, that's some ghetto, that's probably what them ghetto black people deserve. If you don't think a Black Hawk is coming into your neighborhood, right.
That's how I was just about to go. Yeah.
So, right. So to me, that's what we have to be like. It has to be a real response in terms of organizing and to give, I guess, some credit. I mean, Governor Pritzker condemned the operation. He said federal agents reporting to Secretary Noam has spent weeks snatching up families, scaring law enforcement residents, violating due process rights, and even detaining U.S. citizens. They fail to focus on violent criminal and instead create panic in our communities. And what's interesting about Kristen Noam is that she had a tweet that was tweeted, I believe this was last year.
Yeah.
And her tweet
Could you read that
says,
tweet? Read that tweet.
Yes. It says, if Joe Biden federalizes the National Guard, that would be a direct attack on states' rights. Over the last several years, we've seen Democrats try and take away our freedoms of religion, assembly, and speech. We can't let them take away our right to defend ourselves too. South Dakota defends the Constitution. So you tweet that last year, and this is the very women calling on, National Guard to be implemented. Right now, 300 National Guards are in Chicago. Trump tried to deploy more National Guards to Oregon, California National Guards, and a Trump-appointed judge. Like, when they talk about these radical judges, this judge was appointed by Trump, stopped him from sending National Guards into Oregon, into Portland. Now he's talking about invoking the Insurrection Act. Can you, Miracle, can you just give us, like, when folks hear Trump saying, and he just made a statement like, I have the right to do it, I can invoke the Insurrection Act. What does that mean? And how should we be thinking about
the Insurrection Act? So I think there's also a part of this idea.
But why not? Hey, Miracle, he's doing all this other stuff. Why can't he do that?
Anyhow, because this man is ridiculous. So there's also this idea that Trump does not want to leave office, right? Trump is trying to find a way so that he does not leave office. And there's the belief that he wants to declare martial law. He wants to try to have some type of major event where he can say, oh, elections are canceled, everything's canceled. Yes. I have to, for the safety, whatever. have like, martial law for forever. And so what people are saying and theorizing is the National Guard is being deployed to all of these progressive or blue state run areas because that gives Trump the idea that if something happens, he can declare martial law. You also saw recently the governor of Louisiana basically say, we want the National Guard to Louisiana, and that has been paid dust. And what people are thinking is like, you're trying to see people are committing an insurrection going up against the government, when in fact you can't do that, because people are arguing through judicial rulings is that you are not following the rule of the law. You are basically trying to bastardize the law for political gain, and you cannot do that. And that is what we have said for forever. The law is there for a reason. The law protects people for a reason. But because we're a negative rights society, the United States of America, law only constrains the government. It tells the government what it can and cannot do. It never says you as a citizen have the right to do A, B, and C, because the government shall not infringe. And so what the rulings have been is like, hey, you're doing stuff that you cannot do. That's not how we enforce our immigration laws. It's not how we protect our border. And that, you cannot just enforce the Insurrection Act.
Right.
There is the processes to this. You have to have these findings of facts, and he's trying not to do that.
But he's saying, right, Trump is saying what's happening in Portland is an insurrection. He's saying
it's not.
And not only is he saying it, Stephen Miller is also saying it. So they're doing this big blitz. Stephen Miller went on CNN to talk about why he feels what's happening in Portland is an insurrection.
When in our history have we tolerated unlawful riotous assemblies night after night around FBI buildings or ATF buildings or DEA buildings? This is the textbook definition of domestic terrorism.
I could think of a date, and I could think of I can think of a date specifically.
Can you?
What
date is that, Farouk?
I want to say the 6th of January, January 6th, where domestic
legitimate political discourse, sir.
Legitimate political discourse, where domestic terrorists stormed the Capitol building, beat police officers with the American flag. They put their feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. They actually went out of their way to stop at Taco Bell and shit on the walls of the Capitol building.
Those patriots you talking about?
Someone had a water buffalo hat, was causing all kinds of disturbances.
Hey, remember, one guy came with like a bunch of pipe bombs. One guy arrived at the Capitol.
You need to relax. On
January 6th with pipe bombs. So again, remember, one guy he definitely was. He was laying something. One guy came with the zip ties. So again,
they was on smoke. They came for the whole purpose of violence.
Yes, and guess what happened to them? They were all pardoned. Bro. They were all let go. They were all pardoned. None of them were punished at all. So to watch that, where people were climbing up the walls, I guess this is before they shit on them. They climbed up the walls. Right?
What if they shit on them first and then climbed up it?
They broke through the Capitol. They broke through and went into the United States Capitol. If that's not an insurrection, how can you see a couple of protesters in Portland? How can that be an insurrection? According to the governor of Oregon, Tina Kotek, said there is no insurrection in Portland. There's no threat to national security. But just to co-sign what Miracle said, it says the Insurrection Act is a federal law that gives the U.S. president power to deploy military or federalized National Guard troops anywhere in the U.S. to restore order. See, but Miracle, when you say that, right? And I just wanted to push back a little bit on you, Miracle. Not that, I don't want to, I told you so moment. He's already sent Marines to Los Angeles. He's already sent military people to a United States city. There wasn't any pushback that we saw, any big pushback on that was to prevent him from saying, I believe it's an insurrection I have these presidential powers. I can do what I want to do. I'm going to send the military there. What then? I mean, if he ignores a judge's order and sends the military, then what?
Well, the National Guard reports to the governors of their states.
Yes.
And so therefore, that's why you have, Texas National Guard in Chicago, because governors are like, we're going to send these troops elsewhere. I mean, we could have a little scuffle. I mean, the governor of Illinois can be like, we got to defend, against, enemies, foreign and domestic. And right now the military is a domestic enemy. Who knows? It's going to be chaos. I don't think it's going to get there. I do think that you're going to see, and you've started to see a lot of prior military folks speak out against Pete's Hegseth, start to talk about how that's again. I personally believe we're heading toward a military coup, but I really don't want to, because I feel like I really want to travel, and I have really great travel options coming up in the next 6 months. So I really want things to like level out for me personally. But putting that aside, it's going to be a mess. It really is a mess. And I think that a lot of folks did not push back, and I said this before, did not originally push back against Trump because they secretly agree with what he was doing. Like, people didn't want to talk about trans folks. They didn't want to talk about black folks. They didn't want to talk about the race thing anymore. And they're like, whatever. And then once they realized that, like, oh, it is your family members being taken, your neighbors being taken, Theo Vaughn, one of the largest conservative voices out there, came out and was like, my father was an immigrant. Like, how dare you use my image in this, immigration raid video? So people have been turning on, based on this idea, because they really thought, some people did really think that it was only going to be like the worst of the worst, the criminals, the gangs. And he realized that in Chicago, there was no gangs. There was not a gang state. Gangs do not take over buildings and just act like landlords, right? Those are developers.
This ain't Nino Brown, right? This ain't,
Developers do that. Developers are the ones who take over apartment buildings and exploit people.
And gangs are recruiting like 4 and 5 year old children. You know what I'm saying?
Not how it,
so
like,
come on.
The thing is, I feel that people watch like these random TV series and just assume this is how gangs operate, and then it makes sense. And then when they see the videos and they see the rappelling down, like, you know what? Actually, this kind of doesn't make sense. That is the man who fixes my car. That is the man who teaches my children. That is the pastor who preaches every Sunday. These are not folks who are out here running criminal enterprises. And again, but most Americans are drug traffickers. Like,
I was just gonna say, like, for these, like, I hear you, but like, to these, like Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan and these kind of Adam Schultz, these like white pod guys, again, they looked at it as, Trump will, now we can make trans jokes and all these things, right? But again, like they should have known, like, Trump lies. He told you that he was going to do all of this stuff around undocumented folks. He told you he was going to do this. Now, he also told you all of these other lies, but to me, like, to now come back and say, well, I didn't know it was going to be all like this, you know what I'm saying? But you did know that the most marginalized people were going to be harmed by this, because he ran talking about Haitian immigrants were eating cats and dogs, and y'all thought that was funny.
Yeah, they thought it was poor people. Here's the thing. Right. They thought it was going to be like the poor. What they wanted was the poor people and the homeless people. They thought it was going to be like the most marginalized. And now we're seeing doctors, lawyers, professors. We're seeing people that folks like, wait, that's not the ones I wanted to, go for. We were seeing people voting for Trump when their husbands are gone. Their wives are gone. Again, they're like, wait a minute, this is not what we were thinking. And I think a part of it is sometimes Republicans want violence to happen to certain groups of people that they deem unworthy. And when it's like, now the person that I like is gone, there's an issue. You've seen that there was a church, church group. They're like, we all voted for Trump. We don't want the lady in our church to be deported. This wasn't who we were voting for. I think also when it comes to immigration, people forget they didn't really think there was going to be like the Stephen Millers of the world, the racist white supremacist folks, right? Actually doing racist white supremacist things. Because like Republicans have this thing of like, we're not racist. Somehow our policies just hurt only Black and brown people. But we have what we were told, like, oh, we're going to deport all these people. Housing costs we're going to go low. Housing costs are the highest they've been. Groceries, the highest they've been. All this type of stuff, the highest they've been. And now you got these business owners, these billionaires who don't even want to pay people a living wage. So now people are starting to wake up and be like, hey, all the things you promised us that was going to counteract us not having undocumented people in our neighborhoods isn't really adding up. And now, we got to pay ICE. We got to pay all these prisons. We got to pay all these fees.
We're gonna have to bail out these farmers, because all these farmers, they were saying like over 50%. They said bankruptcies have gone up 55%.
People are bankrupt.
We're not even a year out. But again, we saw between 2016 and 2020 that this man didn't know how to deal with it. Again, you saw in that time the economy didn't get better. What? Because we got some stimulus checks? That's what it was?
Again,
so we're gonna have to
Biden
bail out these
should
farmers.
have sent that $400, and I will stand on this
Yeah,
till the day. I'm gonna be in my rocking chair, but like if he already sent that $400. But here's the thing: I say a lot of people like to say Republicans vote against their best interests. I say no. Republicans are voting to make sure they are the last ones harmed, and to do that, to get them to motivate them to vote for somebody else, you have to help them. You have to cater to them, right? When you refuse to cater to them, they're going to go full on MAGA. When we talk about a populist model that Democrats can go for, even right now, paying people living wages, student loan forgiveness, Medicare. We can't even get people to talk about Medicare for all when our government is literally shut down because Medicare and health insurance is so expensive for folks that our government is shutting down. We are now talking about creating a system where your doctors are going to have to verify you're an American citizen before you even get health care. Absolutely asinine. And you have Schumer and Jeffries out there just wasting our time because they can't even articulate a platform. That is the problem.
At the same time, Miracle, like, okay, you're absolutely right. But again, then we watch that. We watch again. Schumer and Jeffries are going to do what they do. We watched Trump say he spoke to the president of the Virgin Islands. He's the president of the U.S. Virgin Islands. I mean, again, we're watching this kind of collapse take place, and I'm not sure where is going. Like you said, I like to go on my little trips too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know where it's going to end, how it's going to end, what is going to happen, what is going to take place. And so again, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine 3 more years of this. Like, in what state or situation the United States is going to be in, I cannot call it. Farouk, did you have any? Just gonna put your robe on, go back to sleep. What is you?
I mean, you two kind of got it from here. I don't think I can really add anything else that hasn't already been said. Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, one of the things that has come up, right, has been, Trump, and I think they were trying to do this because we're at the anniversary, October 7th. Trump has issued this quote unquote peace plan. And like Trump does, he kind of was like, this is the plan. Supposedly Netanyahu in Israel is okay with this plan or have endorsed this plan. Trump is saying, like, if Hamas doesn't accept, they'll be obliterated. Supposedly part of the plan gives Trump and them kind of some type of ownership over Gaza to decide what's that's going to be. And they were already exercising, like, moving people all off of Gaza. 2 years later, one of the things that happened again is the way the public in general views Israel has changed dramatically just 2 years ago. And again, like now where we are now, do we think there's going to be some type of peace agreement? Do we know what that's going to look like? Does it mean forcing people out of Gaza? Does that mean there's going to be some type of safety, no type of safety? Like, where are we 2 years later?
It's easy to have peace talks when you've killed thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people because there's nobody left to protest, right? I think like when we go back, when we're 10 years removed from this, 15 years removed from this, maybe even 5, historians will call this what it was, which is ethnic cleansing, right? Which is genocide, which was war crimes, wanton war crimes that just were unchecked by the United Nations. That toothless dog behind a glass fence that is the United Nations. I think that like having peace talks at this juncture is disrespectful to Palestinians, is disrespectful to everybody, because there was no urgency for peace. There was no urgency for protection. There was no urgency for a safe haven for Palestinian people.
I would say there was urgency. Remember, it was
define urgency in action.
So what I was going to say, the day after, there apparently, this is what was reported, that Hamas was ready to free all of the hostages. It wasn't urgency on the part of Netanyahu and his government.
Of course. That's what I'm referring to.
Did Biden and them want peace? They said they did. They didn't behave in a way that's what I mean.
Urgency and
Netanyahu.
action.
Absolutely not. It seemed like, and it still seems like from now, that this is something that Netanyahu not only intended on continue, but wanted to continue, because they were able to carry out these kind of, like you said, this ethnic cleansing. They were able to basically rid Palestine of Palestinian people.
Absolutely.
And rid places like Gaza from, and that's when you see it now, it's rubble.
As I was going to say, you took the words right out of my mouth. Rafah is now rubble, right? Gaza is reduced to just ruins, right? Like, and so, these people have nowhere else to go, right? The survivors have nowhere else to go. So you can easily evacuate these people under the guise of peace. But after 2 years of subjugation, 2 years of bombs, 2 years of genocide, 2 years of murder, 2 years of some of the most brutal images that most people in this modern era have ever been, exposed to, right? Like, we know war crimes and things have gone on in the past, but we didn't have mobile phones to project those images to you in real time. So this is the first time really you got a chance to sit down ahead of the news and ahead of like the curve, the journalistic curve, and actually see what's happening right as it occurs. Right, people will go on live streaming and everything like that. So
and and to your point, I would say it's a difference between collateral damage and targeting civilians, and what we've seen again and again, whether it be from journalists. More journalists have been killed than we've ever seen, or I remember when I forget, the famous chef had his people just there trying to feed people in Israel, and they were targeted and blown up, right? So it's a difference between some collateral damage. Yeah, we've seen that. Targeting and killing civilians and journalists at this level is something that I've never seen in my lifetime.
And I want to speak to that. I seen something today. It was a statistic from, I believe, NATO, and it said that the child casualty in the Ukrainian-Russian war was 0.03%, and the child casualty rate in the genocide in Gaza was 38.7%.
Right.
And that tells a specific narrative of the difference of a war versus a genocide.
Correct.
And I was just like, that was mind blowing. Like, that number was just crazy. That 38.7% of the casualties in Gaza were children.
Right. Miracle, did you have thoughts on where we find ourselves, 2 years later?
I think 2 years later, we find ourselves basically at the end of humanity.
Oh,
We
damn.
have seen things that we were never supposed to see in this genocide.
True.
We have literally watched every system of government fail, not only the people of Palestine, but our own citizens. We've had people arrested, locked up, dogs detained, just for saying that war and violence is not the answer, right? We have literally watched the infrastructure of our governments, of our press, of our free speech rights just change based all off of what happened October 7th. October 7th, thousands of people were murdered. It started with murder, and that murder has not ended until this day. When we had the opportunity to actually build peace, we failed. When we had the opportunity to actually make sure that Palestinians were being treated with dignity and respect, we failed, right? And we were just like, that part of the world just is violence. Sudan, violence. Congo, violence. Haiti, those areas, they just have violence. Like, what can we do? And it was like, when we had the opportunity to be like, you know what? We shouldn't do this. It stopped. And now we're at a point where we are looking at genocide locally and globally. We really do not know if by next week we are going to have military tanks coming down the streets of Pittsburgh, killing people. That's where we are. It's all the result of people trying to exploit and make millions and billions of dollars off of people's pain and suffering. And then people forget, like, you had Egypt and Jordan charging people thousands of dollars to evacuate from Palestine. You had people selling billions of dollars in industry infrastructure. You have people selling, AI technology. Like, I think that's something that has been the most heartbreaking is we've learned the past 2 years, people profit off of genocide. Like, even the NGOs themselves, they are making a profit off of people's pain and suffering. And I think that has been like the hardest thing for a lot of us to swallow and to realize, like, to feed people is a contract. To help people flee is a contract. We saw, Trump talking about, we rebuild billions of dollars. It is like people are making billions of dollars, and that is why the world is in chaos and uproar. And I think that has been like the hardest part of these past 2 years, because we look at it as people's lives. We look at the Palestinian people, the Israeli people trying to live with peace and self-determination. And we see on the outside, like, people don't want that. Whether it's Netanyahu trying to save himself, whether it's the minister trying to create a greater Israel project, people do not actually want folks to live in peace and liberation. And that is where we are in these today, 2 years out. We have seen, when you watch the videos, I never thought I would see a headless baby coming out of a wound. I never thought I would see a girl hanging, off of the side of a building. We can literally watch people die and with weapons we never could even fathom. And
like you said,
that
Miracle,
has been the hardest part. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like you said, like, it was a part of it where if we're willing to accept that there, then we'll accept that anywhere, right? And then we'll accept that here. And so then when violence is done in a community in Chicago, we'll accept that, right? We'll accept violence anywhere because we made the choice to allow human beings. And a lot of times, again, we talk about Sudan and Congo and Gaza, people think of it as like these faceless. No, these are human beings. These are families. These are children. You hear stories where not just one or two, but generations of Palestinian families being wiped out. We watch and heard these stories. There was a story, we talk about people getting paid off this, that I read that the BBC published, that an anti-Islamic U.S. biker gang was running security at the Gaza aid distribution site. This is a gang called the Infidel Motorcycle Club, that 10 members of this gang are over in Gaza, and now we're watching people getting shot just trying to get and distribute food. So I don't think we ever thought we would not only see the level of violence that we've seen, but then also the only punishment that we've really seen is the young college students that decided that they wanted to protest to stop the violence that was happening over in Gaza. the only real punishment we've seen is to these students and to people that have got literally like put in camps or arrested because of that, right? The one Mahmoud, I believe he's still in jail, from my understanding, or might get sent back. So what is wild is I was on a call this week and we were talking about ICE and what's happening in all these cities. And it was like, oh, we need to have a massive protest. And somebody was like, yeah, we haven't really seen the college students protest. And I'm like, you think? You think? Well, why aren't they protesting? Because when they did protest to save lives in Palestine, they were arrested, they were expelled, they were kicked out of school. Their livelihood was threatened. They were threatened to be put on lists and never be hired again. So they're the only people that face real punishment.
It is.
So,
To that point, I don't know if we've come to a point in America yet where you can just openly kill journalists and professors. So the next best thing is to incarcerate them, disappear them, challenge them in a way that, you hit them in their livelihood and all that, like you said, right? I do think, though, we're not far from there. And for there to already be a model of silencing journalists and silencing professional thinkers and silencing academics and, going to places of academia and calling it, a woke university or taking away their funding because they disagree with your policies, right? That's the way that this administration is handling that right now. They're not doing it with bloodshed. They're doing it with black ink.
But
right?
Like you said, could that be the next step?
It's it's definitely. I don't think we're a far cry away from that. To where we see a professor get shot by ICE, or we see someone who's in the community. If you're pepper spraying pastors, right? If you're using less violent, less lethal, or less harmful tactics, whatever the nomenclature is that they're using now against clergymen.
Yeah.
Then you've really shown no quarter. Like, there's no rules of engagement that these people have. And I think that's also another thing, is that when you have a military operation, when you have a mission, parameters, there's a rules of engagement. ICE clearly does not operate with rules of engagement. These deputized people do not have rules of engagement. So therefore, citizens, it doesn't matter what class they fall under, are targets now. Right. And I think that's what separates this from, like, an incursion like in a foreign land. Right. There's no quarter being shown to American citizens.
Right. Old, young, children. So with that said, with no quarter being shown to American citizens, that means that one of the choices that we have or may have is to choose to move to a different country.
And I think, from what I understand, my brother, you have a list of habitable candidates for us to select a new domicile in.
I don't know where. I just, sometimes I'll put in just a search.
Who made this list, first of all?
Okay. This is on a site called How Stuff Works. Okay.
Oh,
and mind you, sometimes I'll just put in racism, what's happening this week. And for whatever reason, I came up. This list is titled The 15 Least Racist Countries.
Oh, dear God.
Okay. The 15 least racist countries. Number 15.
Was it for people of color, or was it like for white people?
It just says least racist.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It just says, it says racism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the job you don't get, the glance you receive at the store, or place you're told you shouldn't go. Figuring out the least racist countries is complex, but research and policy data can point us in the right direction. These rankings are based on factors like racial equity laws, the percentage of survey respondents experiencing discrimination based on ethnic origin or skin color, and how society handles hate speech, systematic racism, and government policies. They also account for cultural diversity, history, and how nations treat people of African descent or other ethnic backgrounds.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting.
They're getting me. I would read that and I'd be like hype. I'd be hype.
Okay.
Right.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready? The drum roll.
Okay.
The drum roll. At number 15, least racist country. South Africa.
Okay.
I was just watching District 9 before we
Wait,
left.
let's keep going. Let's save our commentary.
South Africa. This is how
The
racist.
voters are, well, I can't. I guess that's
world
racist
is.
now.
This is how racist the world is. The world is so racist that the 15th least racist country is fucking South Africa. What?
I mean, they've been doing
South
some
Africa?
work, some unlearning.
Oh, okay. They've been doing some work, some unlearning. Shout out to
Post apartheid, they've been rebuilding.
Nelson Mandela. Shout out to the work that. But 15 in South Africa is mind blowing to me. Okay,
Crazy.
number 14.
I mean, that invalidates this entire list to just the first entry.
If 15 doesn't, number 14 is Italy.
Arguably the worst place for a black person to exist in Europe. There's a whole thing on TikTok just about
how
what is
how
racist.
it is.
How racist.
Yeah.
If you're Arab or black, so Farouk definitely shouldn't go there. If you're Arab or black in Italy,
I don't even like the food anyway, so I'm good.
Don't
Mind-boggling
disrespect
to me.
Italian food. It's amazing.
Oh, I love pasta.
So again, this is how racist it is. Italy, number 13. Germany.
Keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going.
I've heard good things about Germany. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've heard good things about Germany.
South Africa, Italy, and Germany.
Wasn't that the axis of evil? Wasn't that the original axis of evil?
They
it definitely was the axis of racist and white supremacy.
They reflected.
God damn. All right, hold on. Let me get to this.
Imagine the PR of Germany to turn around to bid on
number
that
11. Number 11.
Wait.
France.
No, keep going.
France.
I could tell you by personal accounts. Awful place. Awful place.
I do love France.
This should be the 15th colonizers. I don't know whatever it is. All right. Remember, least
they
racist.
bullied someone into making this list.
Okay. Number 10, Japan.
Okay.
Well, we about to go and find out.
We will find out when we're there.
Yeah.
But again, you can go into some anime, some different.
We're gonna conduct research in Japan.
Yes. Number 9, Argentina.
Oh my God, that's where all the Nazis went. That's where they ducked the Nuremberg trials. They went with Argentina. Jesus Christ. Who wrote this fucking list, man?
I told you, they said. Number 8 is San Marino. I don't even know where that is. Miracle, you're the traveler.
That's an island.
Yeah.
San Marino. It says a country in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's south.
Yeah. Surrounded by Italy, I guess.
Yeah. South of Italy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number 7, Ireland.
I've heard good things.
I've heard good things, because like Ireland,
And,
I've heard really good things about. They got that revolutionary spirit because everything that England practiced on the world, they tested on Ireland first.
True. All right, Ireland. I've never been. Number 6, Costa Rica.
Okay.
I did like Costa Rica, even though they tried to kill me in the little flood they had at the time.
Oh,
it was.
I don't think that was their fault, Miracle.
Okay. Was that them or was that God? Or was that God?
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's a flood.
Wow. Okay.
The Costa Ricans' fault.
That's your one. You know how I be doing things. That you think I'm gonna get you back for that.
Okay. Now we're in the top 5. Okay. Number 5, Portugal.
Next to Italy.
Portugal, very sunny, very great food. Very kind people, very sunny. Sunny.
So you've been to Portugal and you've experienced. You were able to live and thrive as a Black woman.
I was there for like 24 hours, so I can't say I was able to live and thrive.
Got you.
Yeah, I've heard that Portugal and Italy are interchangeable for Black people. That's what I've been told. That it's kind of like 1A and 1B of the worst places to be as an African person in Europe. Wow. Yeah.
And that's also a different thing. And I will say, as someone who was in France for a couple of months, you were treated differently as a Black American than as the African. Like they will
Absolutely.
discriminate you against you the worst if they think you're an African migrant or
Mhm.
African immigrant.
Wow.
Once they realize you're like an American, it's a little bit different. It's
Yeah.
the
Okay.
discrimination is there, but it's like a kinder Southern style racism.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
also
an intolerance
different.
versus a blatant discrimination.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Number.
in-
Okay.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
go
Number
ahead.
4. New Zealand.
The Kiwis.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the Polynesian. I got a little.
Yeah, they got
New
the
Zealand
Samoans.
history when I went to Hawaii, and I didn't know there was a
Yeah.
connection. I didn't know that all was like.
You got all the Polynesia there. Yeah, the Micronesians, the Tongans. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
I can see it.
Number 3. Sweden.
I've never heard anything bad about Sweden, but I don't know anybody black that's gone.
Yeah. Why would? Who wants to go to? Again,
I
as a
would-
black
I would-
person,
I
if
would
you
go- yeah.
said come to Sweden, I would be like, but why though? What's
Hold
gonna
on.
be? Remember, I didn't want to go to Switzerland.
Yeah,
You know what
right,
I'm saying?
right. Yeah.
And what saved my experience in Switzerland was all the Lebanese. Thankfully, their food was amazing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it was like
You're
I
welcome.
got some. Yeah. Shout out to
Keep
the
going.
Lebanese folks. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm
I
fine,
ate there
I'm fine,
every
right,
day.
yeah, fine.
But as far as Switzerland, it was just wealthy and white and just not my. So Sweden, I guess we would have to try it out for ourselves. But
I
try
would
to
definitely
stay
go
there.
check out Sweden.
Try to stay there and live there. I bet you the racism will come out. Number 2. And I'm gonna admit, I know absolutely nothing about this country. Uruguay.
Uruguay. Yeah,
Uruguay.
Yeah, South America. Yeah, okay.
I know nothing about Uruguay. I have no. I can't name a city there. I don't know no history. Oh, you know something about?
Just short people, as
Uruguay?
I've been told. I've heard like that's like someone said I need to go there because they're short like me.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
felt like there was a microaggression in that. But yes.
Yeah, Uruguay. Don't know anything about.
It's
Okay.
right next to Argentina. It's like so.
Shares a border with Argentina.
Yeah.
Southwest and Brazil. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so I don't know anything about it. Number 1. Are you ready for the number
Can I guess?
1?
Can I guess?
Yes.
Give me a hint. Is it in Europe?
No.
Have we been there before?
Yes.
All right. We've been there before.
Yes.
So it is either Great Britain, United States of America. I'm gonna narrow it down to 5. So we got 2 minutes left. Great Britain, United States of America, Canada, Mexico, or Australia.
Mexico has not made an appearance. I'm very perplexed by this.
Me
it's
too. Yeah.
one of those. It's one of those countries. Do you want
to
to
be one of those.
Do you want to take a guess at one of those? I'll give you a guess and I'll give you a guess, Miracle.
Am I gonna be angry or am I gonna be like, huh?
I can't say.
I'm you know what? I'm gonna go with Australia.
Okay. Miracle?
I feel like I know what it is, so I'm gonna let you say it. 'Cause I think it's the obvious answer, and we're all gonna be like,
but I'm saying because this list is just but
It is your home country, Farouk.
Canada.
Canada is number 1, which I don't agree, but
I don't
number
agree
1
either. Yeah, I don't
least racist. I tried to
Listen.
drive into Canada one time,
Yeah.
and this man was so disrespectful to me. I kept saying,
The
I
Canadian
thought y'all
border
was nice.
is the most difficult border to cross. Like it's notoriously bad for everybody.
I was like,
I will say
thought-
that, like,
I thought y'all were the nice people. They made me call the university
yeah, I
that
remember you told
booked
me
me.
that. Yeah.
And I had to get verification.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying, yo, I thought y'all was nice. And this man was not nice at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Canada, Farouk, as a Canadian/American, because we don't want to get you deported, how do you feel about Canada being the least racist country? Or do you agree?
I don't agree that it's the least racist country when you compare it to other places, right?
Yes.
Like I do think it's less racist blatantly than America,
Right.
but that's also because of per capita, right? We have a fraction of the population. I experience racism as a Canadian, as a Black Canadian. Often, I will say Canadians are a lot nicer about it. I will say that Canada loves to say we aren't Americans, and very much in the fashion of England, they like to dance around the topic of racism. But to just say that it's the least racist country, I mean, I don't know. I've seen a good bit of the world, maybe least racist. I would say the most tolerant. I don't want to say that they're the least racist. I would say Canada is the most tolerant.
And it also
Miracle, you
depends
have
on like where
traveled-
you go. I love
Yeah.
Canada because first of all, I love the food. And
Canadian food? What you love, poutine or
no
gravy on fries?
No,
It's amazing.
No. Basically, Canada is what we think New York is as a melting pot. That is what Canada is.
Toronto is not indicative of Canada. Toronto is not indicative of Canada as a whole.
Well, I've been through different neighborhoods in Toronto. The food, immaculate. Indian food, Ethiopian food, Chinese food.
I mean,
like
we're the most culturally diverse city in the northern hemisphere.
Let me finish, because you want to rag on the fact that you think you're more cultured. It's fine. Big up your peoples. You're winning in the little sports stuff, and you got like nice communities. Granted, I like Canada. What I do not like is the racism that happens when you try to go to certain places. More like the fine dining establishments.
Absolutely.
More of like the classier museums. So I love, Canada's art scene. I love the fact that they have a very like multicultural community. But I love that. But though I've been to like, was it Windsor, which is apparently the worst.
Windsor's on the other side of Ontario.
All the way Detroit. Like through great sculpture parks, really great like public arts, which I really, really liked. And I really, really enjoyed. I will say the only time I had negative experiences with Canada was with their religious Christian people, but those are their far right fanatics, and so that's like,
Yeah,
whatever.
Again, like Toronto is not indicative of Canada as a whole. Like Canada still is. You can go in certain provinces and certain cities, even outside of Toronto and further north in Ontario, that are not welcoming the Black people. You can look at the whole thing that's happening with Alberta right now. Yeah. You can look at the Northwest Territories and the treatment of the First Nations people. Canada is not a place that's absolved of racism. It's just a lot more tolerant the closer you are to the American border. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. When I was an artist, the record label I signed to was based in Vancouver, and the white guy who was one of the co-owners told me he didn't meet a Black person until he was 18 years old.
Yeah, and British Columbia,
he lived in Canada,
DC,
there was zero. He said there were indigenous people, but he said there were no Black people. He's like, I didn't meet a Black person physical person until he was 18 years old.
I believe that.
And it's also cold. Like, have you seen some of those? I'll be like, oh, who wants to go there?
Mad cold. That's what I be feeling.
Can we also at the end talk about like how we're talking about liberation and fighting? And I would like to say, I believe Black people should be liberated, all type of stuff. But however, be that as it may, I do not need to go hiking. I do not need to go outside in the elements.
Skiing. Yeah, I don't want to do snowboarding. I don't want none of that.
I was one of the
now I feel
in the
like
snow.
We
gonna go hiking in the snow. What we gonna put like some tennis rackets on our shoes? And no, I ain't trying to do that.
Snow is fine, but it's this idea that because of fascism, you need to learn how to cook food. You need to learn how to identify plants. I am tired of being outside. I am tired of being in the wilderness. And I am just like over it. I am finding out what your place is in the revolution. Mine is not being outside. I am a city girl.
Take me to prison. Take
me to the upper room. Put me in the box. Okay. Like I'd be like, I can't do it. Like I can't do it. It's just like too much. And that's why I just, for selfish reasons, I'm fighting for liberation. Yeah. Because I'm tired. Come on, we gotta go underground.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised like Barbados or some of these like Black
one of these Caribbean countries like Belize or something like that.
I'm gonna be there.
Now Belize, that's a place to go. Like Belize.
Yeah, Belize.
That's what I'm saying. Farouk, what do you think about the Canadian Prime Minister today calling Donald Trump a world-class leader?
I mean, it's funny because they spent so much time dissing each other. Mark Carney isn't drastically different from Donald Trump in that they've never had political office. Mark Carney is a banker. Mark Carney never had political office. He was I believe he was the head of HSBC. Yeah, I mean, all that back and forth they were doing, I think that's performative for Mark Carney, but I also think that, perhaps it's just a political tactic, that there's no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, politics. I don't know.
And yeah, if you're negotiating with Donald Trump, you kind of got to butter him up. And if you butter him up, he'll probably just give away whatever he gives away, because, I mean, they're, the way the economy is going right now, they need all the help they can get.
I mean, I thought it was very interesting where over the summer a Canadian died in ICE custody, and I didn't hear Mark Carney say anything about it. So that's definitely something to talk about. Yeah.
Do you have a book where you are, Miracle, that could function as our white pages?
Could you show us your Labubu? I want to see your Labubu.
My Labubu, my Labubu, my Labubu.
I saw one.
I have a red one coming because I said, if you love me, give me the red one, and somebody got me the red one. But if you have Labubus and you would like to send them to the One Hood office, you can, and I will take them. I have Serenity, and I have the red one. So if you have other ones you would like to send me, you could send me also. I feel like we last podcast.
That's one of the scarves?
That's one of the scarves.
Nice.
Okay.
So yes,
okay.
So
that's dope.
But
when I was in Chicago, I saw a Labubu that had a Fear of God shirt on. So I was like, oh, that's what we doing? Okay.
Where do you buy Labubus?
I've been blessed. I don't know.
It's this thing called the internet, and you like Google something, and then that's where you
Pop Mart. Well, yeah, I'm on there right now, but like, yeah.
Yes, are you gonna buy me one? Oh, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, is that Damon's new book?
Yes. This is
okay.
Damon's
that's how they
new
get
book.
you.
That's how they get you. So it's a lot right now. We talked a lot. We even talked about Kyron Lace that we want to talk about earlier. So this laughter. Sometimes you just need to laugh, and that's how they get you. Is
shout out to Pittsburgh's own Damon Young, still in the community, still doing great work in the city. Cool. So that's our white pages. With that being said, any final words?
Whoa, a Labubu was $115.
There's different ones. There's ones that you can get for like $20. Okay, some of them are $35. They go up to like thousands because you get them customized. You can just give me the cheapest one you see. They also sell out sometimes at 10 o'clock at night.
You could probably get some Jordans. You could probably get little Jordans for your Labubu. You know what I'm saying? Like, depends on how. Do you want your Labubu to be as fly as you, brother?
Is this like the new Beanie Baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're healing my inner child because I was too poor to have Beanie Babies, so now I can have Labubus.
Final words. Do we have anything coming up? No. Oh, wait. Something's coming up, right?
We got a lot of stuff coming up. Okay.
A lot of stuff coming up. If you are in New York City, I will be in Brooklyn, New York City on Thursday, October 9th for an event called Empire City Live. We had Chinjaraj Kumayiko on the show. He produced Empire City, the untold origin of the NYPD. We're doing a live conversation around policing, featuring Erica Ford of Life Camp, Lumumba Bendele, you know what I'm saying? Like my man Bigger, who's out in the community doing community policing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So a
Erica
lot of organizations.
Ford of Life Force.
Absolutely. Life Camp, but
or Life Camp. I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
I'm sure our Life Force is very strong. The Action Lab, We Built a Block, a number of organizations came together to help this. So if you're in New York, you want to come through the Brooklyn Bank, I'll be moderating the conversation around the current state of policing, Empire City Live, Thursday. Miracle, you have some stuff coming up?
I have things coming up. I am doing TLC Libations on the 18th. Actually, that's next week. We'll talk about that. Right now, Pennsylvania. It's a lot happening. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you are just registered to vote. We are in the thick of it. We are now becoming a billionaire playground. And the only thing that's going to protect us right now is your vote. And so I know people hate it, but we got to do that. I also want to take this time to remember Marcella Woodard, Kendrick Curtis. We've had 2 Black men murdered here in Pennsylvania by law enforcement agencies that weren't the local policing agencies. So we are really in the thick of fighting for everything that we have won since the murder of George Floyd. And so, again, we just want people to just remember to be careful, take care of themselves, organize, get some rest, and just take up in the revolution, I guess.
Absolutely. Farouk, final words?
Famous final words. Yeah, I don't know, man. I was trying to think of something clever to say, but I don't have it.
You're too comfortable with your
I'm
robot.
way too, I'm too comfortable, man. You know?
That's what it is. Well, thank y'all for joining us. We will see y'all next week. We'll be all together, back together next week. So until then, this week in White Supremacy. Peace, y'all. One hood.